Back to aircraft. This time we're going to be looking at a P-38J from Hasegawa in 1/48 scale, specifically their older Virginia Marie boxing. So let's open her on up. One thing you can immediately tell from this main sprue is good sense of the size of the aircraft kit. All the detailing is of typical Hasegawa quality, despite the kit's age, as I believe this boxing's from the mid-90s. But yeah, detailing is alright, but yeah, I do like when they do give us fuselage parts like this, as it does simplify things a little. Continuing on to the underside, they do include the nose gear well attached to the fuselage, which is a bit down as it does make it painting a little bit trickier, but not significantly so. So something to be aware of, even more so if you plan to replace it with aftermarket parts. Continuing on to the tail booms. There is a little bit of flashing, but nothing significant. Another thing to note is that these little ducts here are molded in the closed position, something which, if you choose to go aftermarket again, you're going to have to take time to cut those out, which will be a little bit difficult. Otherwise, some of the internal detailing is missing, such as back here there is a grill that goes over the radiator there. Much the same on the other side. I won't bother sort of repeating myself there. Lower halves of the wings, which do include marking points for where to drill out for some of the munitions that can be attached. Continuing on, we've got our superchargers, the intake grill, and a couple other odds and end parts for the landing gear and other important pieces. Detailing is alright. Again, some of the stuff could be a little better, but it's passable, especially if you're just planning to do out of the box. It'll give you the basic shape. Continuing on to the clear parts, they're typical Hasegawa quality. However, because there are on some of the R-ring parts of the canopy are very fine, so you're going to need to pay attention, as masking this for all the various, especially the crossing here on the side panels is going to be very difficult. I would say it'd be worth your money to get a masking set, as yeah, that's going to be challenging. Continuing on, we've got our prop pieces as well as our main gear and some of the munitions, including a set of bombs, rockets, and the drop tanks. Wheels, unfortunately, are molded in two separate pieces, but they do give us two different types, which is a nice addition. Detail on the nose, or the wheel wells, is okay, or the gear doors, sorry. Now, we are given two different types of nose. One I know is for the 20mm cannon, and the other one I'm not 100% sure. I believe there was one configuration that had something other than the 20mm, but I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head. Much like the main gear, we're given two separate nose gear wheels. And with these, they did mold them as a single piece, which, again, why they did it for one when they could have done it for all of them escapes me. A couple different paneling parts and some more detail parts. Moving on to the main gear, as well as the main gear bays. Detailing on these is fairly poor, actually. It's bulky and really lacks a lot of detail, so you definitely want to consider aftermarket for those. Similarly, here in the cockpit, a lot of the detail is very sparse and or bulky or just fairly poorly done. The front office is definitely going to take some work to do well, and especially the console here, as there's basically no detailing. You have to look very carefully and in the right light to see it. Hopefully it'll show up if the camera will focus. But yeah, I'm disappointed in the front office on this kit. Once I get these back, we'll move on to the decals. Now, because I got this kit at a swap meet, the decals are older and they have yellowed. But, to be honest, this is one of those few times I'm not going to complain, actually, as if we look at the kit artwork and the example, the markings are supposed to be blue. However, because of the yellowing, it's turned the blue into this sort of sea green color, which, to be honest, I actually kind of like, I think it's a nice color, and even though it's not the color the aircraft's supposed to be, I honestly think I'm gonna just go ahead and use it instead of splurging for the aftermarket decals. Yeah, I actually kind of like it. The only thing I might do is find a set of national insignias, as these have yellowed to a point where they're kind of bad. But yeah, I mean, this is, I would say, one of those cases of a happy accident. So moving on to the instructions. Assembly is typical Hasegawa. There's a lot of little parts that you gotta pay attention to, and a lot of different steps. So I would not recommend this for a more novice builder, especially as a lot tail boom. These twin boom aircrafts are notoriously difficult to get everything aligned, all the both tails and the horizontal controls. So yeah, I definitely would not recommend this, as there's a lot of little places where you can easily screw up. But it does build up to a nice aircraft. Kit does include the main scheme as well as two others. So I would call this a bit of a mixed bag kit. There are some definite things that the kit does well, as the molding for the most part is good, save for a couple of areas. But other than that, it's one of those things you should get if you want a challenge, or you're planning to do a lot of aftermarket detailing. I do also have the Revell boxing of P-38, which I will do at some point later. But I wanted to get this one done first as a sort of benchmark one, so that when we do the other, we'll have an idea. But yeah, overall it's an okay kit. Now it does some things right, but some things it does wrong. So if you're prepared to invest some time in it, it'll definitely build up to a good kit. But if you're not, I would say steer clear and probably look elsewhere. So that was a look at Hasegawa's 148 P-38J Virginia Murray boxing. Until next time.